Will we maybe see a Deadpool 4?
Oh, God, no.
I had absolutely no input into what happened.
I was heartbroken. I'm not actually making a joke at all.
Deadpool has broken more boundaries than just the fourth wall. It has become the highest-grossing R-rated film of all time.
I'm going to bomb or win. I want to have a say in it, and I want to have some authorship. And if I'm going to bomb, I want to be the architect of my own demise. I don't want to be a passenger on someone else's nose-diving jet plane.
Hollywood isn't ready for this. Because what Ryan Reynolds just did isn't about a paycheck. It's about a mutiny, a rebellion against the biggest entertainment empire on Earth. For years, Disney has acted untouchable, reshaping Marvel into a money-printing machine, deciding who gets paid, who gets sidelined, and who gets erased. But this time, they pushed the wrong man. Ryan Reynolds has been the lifeline of Deadpool since day one, dragging a character nobody believed in from leaked test footage to a billion-dollar franchise. He didn't just star in the role, he built it, marketed it, and protected it like his own creation. Yet when Disney slashed his salary after swallowing Fox, they made a mistake that could unravel the entire Marvel empire. This isn't just a contract dispute. This is the story of one actor daring to challenge the most powerful studio in Hollywood, and actually making them sweat. It's a battle of money, ego, and control. But at its heart, it's about something far deeper. Whether creativity still matters in an industry run by corporations, or whether even the most rebellious hero will be forced to kneel. And here's the twist. Reynolds wasn't bluffing. He was ready to take Deadpool away from Disney entirely. He was ready to risk it all. And what happened next sent shockwaves through Hollywood, leaving fans and executives asking the same question. Did Ryan Reynolds just expose the biggest weakness in Disney's empire?
Will we maybe see a Deadpool 4?
Oh, God, no.
Well, yeah, we developed the script 6 years ago, wrote this fantastic script. It leaked online, and Deadpool fans went nuts for it. So the studio granted us a small amount of money to make test footage. This test footage that we shot then sat on the shelf for 4 years, as it does. They didn't do anything with it.
When Disney bought 21st Century Fox in 2019, it wasn't just a business deal. It was a takeover that gave them full control of the X-Men universe, including Deadpool. For most of Hollywood, this looked like a dream. But for Ryan Reynolds, it became a nightmare. At Fox, Reynolds was more than an actor. He was treated as the architect of the Deadpool franchise, paid accordingly with hefty upfront deals that reflected his role as both star and producer. But Disney had other plans. Under their MCU system, paychecks were standardized. Less upfront money, more performance-based bonuses. It worked for ensemble films like The Avengers, but Deadpool wasn't an ensemble. Deadpool was Reynolds. When he discovered his salary for Deadpool, and Wolverine had been slashed compared to his Fox-era contracts, it wasn't just about money. To him, it was a signal. Disney didn't value him the way Fox had. They wanted to fold Deadpool into the machine, stripping away the independence that had made the character a global phenomenon. That single decision was the spark. And once Reynolds realized what Disney was trying to do, he prepared to fight back. Not quietly, but in a way that would shake Hollywood's biggest empire to its core. Deadpool was never designed to live inside Disney's pristine machine. It was a character born in chaos, thriving on crude humor, low budgets, and fan-driven rebellion. That edge was exactly why fans loved it, and exactly why Disney feared it. After the Fox acquisition, insiders whispered that the Mouse House didn't just want Deadpool on their roster, they wanted him standardized, folded into the MCU like another cog in the billion-dollar assembly line. But Ryan Reynolds wasn't having it. For him, Deadpool wasn't a paycheck. It was an obsession, a redemption arc after the disaster of Green Lantern, and the culmination of a decade-long fight to prove that constraint breeds creativity. He pitched Disney over a dozen wild ideas: a stop-motion film, a one-take Sundance-style drama shot entirely in a car, even experimental versions no other studio would touch. These weren't jokes. They were proof of how far he'd go to keep Deadpool alive, even if it meant pushing the character into bizarre territory. When Disney responded by cutting his salary and offering performance-based contracts instead of the hefty upfront pay Fox had guaranteed, Reynolds snapped. The move wasn't just about money. It was a declaration that Deadpool was no longer his to shape. That Disney's rules now mattered more than his vision. Inside closed-door meetings, negotiations turned tense. Sources said Reynolds openly questioned whether Disney truly valued Deadpool, or whether they just wanted to neuter it for family-friendly audiences. The executives played it cool. To them, Marvel was a factory. Heroes could be recast, rebranded, reshaped, but Reynolds wasn't Spider-Man or Batman. He was Deadpool. His wit, his timing, his fourth wall-breaking humor weren't replaceable. They were the DNA of the franchise. Hugh Jackman even admitted as much, calling Deadpool movies love letters, not just to Wolverine, but to Reynolds himself. For Disney, it was about control. For Reynolds, it was about survival. And as those negotiations soured, he realized something vital. He couldn't win this fight behind closed doors. If Disney was going to box him in, he'd have to take the battle somewhere the studio couldn't silence him. Out into the public, with the fans who had always been his secret weapon. Reynolds didn't throw tantrums or slam doors. He knew better. Instead, he weaponized the one thing Disney couldn't control, his voice. In interviews, he cracked jokes about Deadpool 4 bankrupting him or ruining his marriage. But beneath the humor was a pointed message. He wasn't happy, and he wasn't afraid to say so. Fans caught on immediately. Then came the social media hints. A post of the Avengers logo vandalized with anarchist graffiti, another cryptic reference to rebellion. Disney tried to play it off as lighthearted trolling, but the public saw something different. To them, Reynolds was sending smoke signals. He was daring fans to pay attention, and they did. For Disney, the timing couldn't have been worse. Scarlett Johansson had just sued over Black Widow, and the company had learned the hard way that trying to paint stars as greedy backfired spectacularly. Now, the possibility of another public feud, this time with an actor whose fan base was fiercely loyal, threatened to spiral into something far worse. What made Reynolds dangerous was his subtlety. He didn't need to outright threaten Disney. All he had to do was plant seeds, remind fans of how Deadpool was born from leaked footage, and let the internet do the rest. Disney had the contracts. Reynolds had the people, and he was only just beginning to rally them. The moment fans sensed a fight, the internet exploded. Reddit threads dissected every Reynolds interview. Twitter hashtags trended with demands that Disney pay him what he deserved. YouTube creators pumped out videos speculating on a Disney versus Reynolds showdown. The fanbase wasn't just watching, they were mobilizing, and for good reason. Deadpool wasn't like other superheroes. You could recast Batman or Spider-Man and audiences would still show up, but Deadpool without Reynolds? Unthinkable. His wit, his timing, his sarcastic fourth wall breaks. That was the brand. Without him, the franchise collapsed. Fans knew it, Disney knew it, and Reynolds knew it best of all. The whispers only fueled the fire. If Reynolds walked, what would happen? Rumors spread that he might even demand Disney pull Deadpool films off their platform altogether. Legally complicated? Sure, but symbolically, it was nuclear. To fans, the idea of Disney losing Deadpool over greed painted them as villains. The petitions came next. The angry posts, the boycotts. Reynolds didn't even have to ask. His army was already marching. For the first time in decades, Disney wasn't in control of the story. The fans were, and they were making it clear. Disrespect Deadpool's creator, and you disrespect all of us. By the time the conflict peaked, industry insiders had stopped calling it a dispute. They called it a mutiny. One man standing against the largest entertainment company in the world, backed by millions of fans, daring Disney to call his bluff. Reynolds escalated with precision. He hinted that if Disney kept undervaluing him, he might step back from promotion entirely. That wasn't a small threat. Deadpool wasn't just about the movies, it was about the viral campaigns, the outrageous billboards, the offbeat ads that Reynolds himself created. Without his touch, the brand lost half its magic. Then came the real bombshell. Sources whispered that Reynolds was prepared to go further, even demanding that Disney strip Deadpool films from Disney Plus if the fight continued. Whether or not he could legally pull it off didn't matter. The threat itself shook executives. For Disney, which had poured billions into consolidating Marvel content under its streaming empire, losing Deadpool, even symbolically, would be catastrophic. Meanwhile, press tours with Hugh Jackman turned into veiled warnings. Reynolds called the experience of making Deadpool and Wolverine bittersweet, while Jackman praised the franchise as transformative, almost like a eulogy. Fans didn't miss the subtext. Reynolds might not be coming back. For Hollywood, the moment was historic. Never before had a single actor positioned himself as irreplaceable and actually forced Disney to blink. The mouse was no longer the all-powerful puppet master. Deadpool had stepped off screen, torn down the fourth wall, and taken the fight straight into reality. Disney had lawyers, contracts, and decades of experience crushing anyone who challenged their authority. But Ryan Reynolds had something far more dangerous: independence. He didn't need their money, he didn't need their platform. He had his own empire, and if pushed, he could turn it against them. Through his maximum effort agency, Reynolds had become Hollywood's marketing wildcard. He could hijack cultural moments in hours, spinning jokes, memes, and viral ads that dominated the internet. He'd already turned a failed Peloton ad into a gin commercial that went viral overnight. He'd built Mint Mobile into a billion-dollar sale with little more than wit and timing. And when asked how fast his team could move, Reynolds joked, 36 hours? Maybe 12 Disney executives weren't laughing. They knew that if Reynolds unleashed his marketing machine on them, he could make the mouse look like the villain of its own story in less than a day. But Reynolds' battle wasn't just about him. At the same time, Marvel creator families were rising against Disney, demanding respect for the icons they had built. Steve Ditko's heirs fought for Spider-Man, Don Heck's estate for Iron Man and Black Widow, and others for the characters that became billion-dollar empires. Disney fought back with lawsuits, trying to frame the families as greedy. But the optics were brutal. Fans saw through it. The richest entertainment company on Earth was crushing the people who had built its foundation. Public opinion shifted, and Disney was forced to settle. Reynolds' rebellion fit perfectly into this narrative. He wasn't just another actor demanding more money. He was part of a larger war, the fight against Disney's obsession with control, against the idea that creativity could be bought, standardized, and erased. Just like the families of Marvel's creators, Reynolds was saying, you don't own this entirely. Deadpool exists because of me, because of the fans, because of rebellion. For Disney, it was terrifying. They weren't just facing an actor, they were facing a man who had the wealth to walk away, the marketing genius to flip the narrative, and the fan army to rally behind him. Reynolds embodied the very spirit of Deadpool. Chaotic, irreverent, uncontrollable. And if Disney tried to cage him, he could unleash a mutiny that would ripple far beyond Marvel. In the end, Ryan Reynolds did what no one thought possible. He turned a simple pay dispute into a Hollywood reckoning. Disney, the studio that prided itself on control, was forced to face an actor it couldn't tame, a fan base it couldn't silence, and a cultural icon it couldn't replace. Whether Reynolds got the paycheck he wanted almost didn't matter. What mattered was the message. Deadpool wasn't just another Marvel property. It wasn't just a line item in Disney's endless content machine. It was proof that creativity, rebellion, and fan power could still bend the mightiest corporations. Disney walked away bruised, their authority cracked, their image dented. And Reynolds, he walked away as more than an actor. He became a symbol, a man who proved that one voice, amplified by millions, could challenge an empire. And the irony couldn't be sweeter. Deadpool, the character who lived to break the fourth wall, had finally broken through the biggest wall of all, the barrier between corporate dominance and creative freedom. The mutiny wasn't just in the movies, it was real. And Ryan Reynolds had shown the world that sometimes the loudest superhero isn't the one wearing a cape, it's the one who dares to bite the hand that feeds him. So, the question remains, did Disney win by keeping Deadpool under their control? Or did Ryan Reynolds win by proving that control itself can be shattered? One thing is certain, Hollywood will never look at him, or at Deadpool, the same way again.